Hello again, my dears. This time around, sorry, cigarette, always, great way to start. This time around, I wanted to talk about truth. What is true and truth itself. The difference being, what is true is more like the difference between the truth and the lie, and truth being more philosophical truth. One of the things I want you to remember when we're talking about lies and truth is that sociopath. Hi, covered that in the disclaimer if you were paying attention. Because I'm a sociopath, no morals, which means the thought of lying is not particularly a bad thing, whereas the damage of being hurtful with the truth is more what offends me, if you want to use that term. While I was thinking up what to say, I decided that, again, in the disclaimer I said, if you catch me on any bullshit, call me on it. So, what I decided was that I was going to look up the definition of truth, true, and even went so far as to look up the definition of reality. Hello, schizo. Need references every once in a while. I have found that based on dictionary definition, standard definition of the words, how we ever come to any kind of conclusion as to what is true, what is truth, and what is reality and what is real is absolutely beyond me. Because it's all interconnected. I'm going to go into that another time. Probably under the term reality. Interesting concept. But right now we're focusing on truth. Now, here's an easy thought for you guys. And girls. The first concept when somebody thinks, why would somebody lie? First thing people usually think of is, does my ass look fat in these pants? Duh, standard thing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but it's never that simple. Yes, your ass may look fat in those pants. However, certain women want to get away with looking like they have a big ass. Other people want to look like they have a skinny ass or no ass. And the truth is, everyone just wants to have a nice ass, which has absolutely nothing to do with whether it's big or small. Another thing people sometimes bring up to me. Do you want somebody to tell you that you have a booger in your nose? Interesting concept. Do you actually want somebody to make you feel bad for having walked around or having it there in the first place? Or do you want them to not say anything and let you keep walking around looking like a fool? Here's my thing. Go ahead. Tell me I have a booger in my nose, okay? But, trying to slip it by, that's stupid, okay? Or just flat out saying, hey man, you've got a booger up your nose and it's looking like shit, that ain't gonna help either, because then I'm just gonna want to bitch smack you for making me feel like an asshole. It's just that simple. So what we end up doing is sugarcoating everything. Again, back to the big fat pants. You never want somebody to tell you, yes, your ass looks big in those jeans. Because at that point, then you're wondering if you just have a fat ass or a bad ass, or if it's just the jeans or whatever. So then you get into the point of the sugarcoating. Okay? Which a lot of people take straight up as a lie. No questions asked. Nobody really ever wants to hear the full total truth. And this is basically part of what all of this is about, me ranting and raving, is because nobody actually wants to hear my definition of the truth. You know why? Because it pisses people off, and then they want to argue with it. Okay? Truth is a matter of opinion. It always has been. What is true and what is right? Completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. In a movie, Don't know which one. If anybody finds it, go ahead and tell me. But there was a movie that said, truth is a three-edged sword. At first I was thinking, okay, this is completely impossible. However, I found out that before the Geneva Convention, one of the things that was outlawed in the Geneva Convention for war was a triangular-shaped blade which would basically have three edges to it. So, once I figured that out, proved myself wrong on that. Hey, I can admit when I'm wrong. But they said it's a triple-edged sword. You have your side, their side, and the truth, quote-unquote, which is what actually happened. Okay. Which, by the time you slice it up into those three things, you barely have anything left. And each person, okay, your side and their side, let's leave out the truth and what actually happened out for a moment, okay? Let's just focus on your side and their side of the truth. Both sides are accurate in essence, though both sides also tend to leave out certain things of what's going on. It's all a matter of their point of view, okay? It's kind of a magician's trick. When the camera is focused on one point of view angle, you have no idea what's going on everywhere else. You can only see what the camera's pointed at. Hence, you don't see that stuff over there behind me, but now you see all that stuff over there behind me. It's all a matter of the point of view. So, when you have your side and their side, and it's all a matter of point of view as to what is or is not actually true, and then those people go out and start sharing their version, their definition of the truth for them with other people, then those people start developing their own definition of truth, which thusly waters down the whole situation more and more and more. So, by the time the word actually gets to you, whatever the word may be, it's completely messed up and irrelevant as to what anybody's actually saying. You actually have to sift through all the BS and find the few key points that nobody's debating, that everybody agrees on from both sides, plus what the BS both sides have filled into the heads of everyone they know. But now let's focus on what actually happened, okay? Let's say for a moment that, yes, you can actually record and show what happened, okay? And let's assume for a second, yes, you even know exactly what happened, okay? As far as legal terms are concerned, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. It happens all the time. Every legal situation, from O.J. Simpson to Clinton, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on, all the way back to these old Western shows where they actually held some kind of trial of some sort, it was proven even then that it's not what you know and it's not what the truth is, it's what you can prove. Hence why people know and have evidence of terrorist activity or murder or whatever, but they can only nail them on a completely irrelevant charge. Hence, Al Capone. They knew and had multiple abundant evidence of all the crimes he had committed and was a part of and everything else. They had it all right there. Problem is, none of it held up enough to actually prove anything in a court, especially with all the money he paid out to high-class lawyers, also considering the fact that he could have paid off any of the jurors, plus the fact of paying off judges. What a concept, like nobody's ever done it before. Anyway, Not what you know, it's what you can prove. So, in the end, they had to nail Al Capone on tax fraud. Of all the things he did, the least harmful and the least destructive of all the things he did was tax fraud. And that's what they end up nailing him on. And there was so much built up that it finally put him away permanently. More or less. Anyway. So it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So at that point, again, the truth becomes irrelevant. And for all you parents, grandparents, mature adults looking after younger kids, or whatever, I don't care if you're a 50-year-old looking after a 30-year-old, or a 40-year-old looking after a 25-year-old, or some parent with teenage or younger kids, or a grandparent with teenage and younger kids, okay? You ask them all the time, what's going on? Tell me the truth. What's going on? Blah, 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 okay? Let's be honest for a second. They're your kids, okay? If we want to start there. They're your kids and your grandkids. You've known them since they were growing up. You know what the truth is. You've caught them in all their lies before. You know the tricks they pull. You watch them learn them. And you've watched them refine them. Okay? There's nothing they can pull that you ain't already seen. Okay? Your only problem is they've just cut off all information. Which, if you look, is fairly easy to find. You're just trying to go through the one wall that they're blocking. Through them. There are other connections. Trust me, there always are. There's their friends, there's their teachers, there's also their friends' parents. All kinds of connections that you can find shit out from. And then, when you go and confront them for any reason over anything, you already know the truth, so why the hell are you trying to get it out of them? I understand, you want them to be honest, and you want them to admit to what they've done, and you want them to realize. Seriously? I've known people who have been completely nailed to the wall with what actually happened and still denied it to the end. Okay? Until finally they broke down because it was thrown right in their face and said, fine, I did it. You know? And still basically walked away like it was nothing. And then we go into, you know, older adults trying to get the truth out of younger people and trying to say, don't bullshit me, be truthful with me. You don't want me to be truthful with you. You don't. You really, really, really don't. You know why? Because everything I consider true, you consider bullshit. Simply because of a generation gap. Okay? It's almost automatic. You don't want to hear the truth that I've been sleeping on the streets. You don't want to hear the truth on top of that not only have I been sleeping on the streets, but I've been perfectly fine and comfortable doing it. Okay? You don't want to hear that truth. Because if you hear I've been sleeping on the streets, boom, automatically you're worried about me thinking I'm getting jumped every other night or raped or whatever. Okay? So why am I going to put that burden on you? And then if I tried to tell you, yes, in truth, I am having a fine time and I'm, you know, surviving just well, it's more or less like camping, you know, you don't want to hear or buy that either, even if it is the truth. You don't give a damn, okay? Because you automatically assume the worst. Why? Because you worry and you care, which, thank you, love you, I appreciate the fact that you care enough that you worry about me. I appreciate it, really, I do. But that's another thing. You don't want me to tell you the truth and thusly make you worry more. When you come to drugs, parents, friends, or adult friends, you know, parental figures, you don't want to hear that I've been smoking pot. You don't want to hear that I continue to smoke pot even though I have a good job. You don't want to hear that I continue to smoke pot going to school. You don't want to hear that I'm doing these drugs. Okay? You actually want me to tell you that I'm not. Whether I am or not is irrelevant. You want to hear that I'm not. 2 reasons. 1, as long as I'm doing good, what ground do you have to stand on to say I need to stop doing drugs other than the fact it's illegal, which, why some of these things are illegal is bullshit and beyond me. Seriously, well beyond me. Okay, why these things are illegal. All of them, when you get right down to it, which I'll go over in another thing titled Drugs. Druggies giving away certain secrets. Anyway. You don't want to hear the truth. Because if you find out that I am fucked up on a regular basis on whatever it is, and I'm still perfectly functioning, I don't know if that worries you more or whatever, but the point is, it's not what you want to hear. And even if, that's one point. You don't want to hear that I'm doing drugs and I'm actually doing well. And the other thing is, you don't want to hear that I'm doing drugs and that I'm going to continue to doing drugs no matter what you say, which you already know anyway, because anyone who's ever done any drug, including cigarettes, speaking of which, anybody who's ever done any drug knows for a fact that it doesn't matter how much bitching and moaning anybody does or how important the person doing it is to you until you decide to stop doing the drug. It's not going to happen. You're not going to do it. You've got to make the decision for yourself. Period. So, you don't want to know the truth. You want us to lie to you. As a matter of fact, you want us to lie to you because if we do tell you the truth on a regular basis, yeah, Grandma, I just got high the other day. Seriously? Then you get upset because you feel like we're rubbing your noses in it. Now who wants the truth? Now who's complaining about people lying to them? Consistency, that's all I ask. Now we get into the philosophical truth, which I think I'm going to stop this and start another one because we're getting on to 20 minutes here.